The Stations of the Cross are among the most beloved devotions of the faithful during Lent. The 14 stations portray events in the Passion of Christ, from his condemnation by Pontius Pilate to his entombment. They're an invitation to meditate on Christ's suffering and prepare our hearts for Holy Week.
It's more of a hunch or a trust that God might redeem even the worst of suffering. I think that shines through these images, or certainly through these Stations of the Cross, and I hoped to convey a little bit of that.
It was a journey that began in December of 2023, when Manuel Andreas Dürr's friend came across the Vatican's international competition to select an artist to paint the Stations of the Cross, and suggested that he apply. Dürr thought to himself, what harm could it do to try? Even after advancing to the second round, which required submitting a painting of the crucifixion, he said he never really believed something like this could happen to him.
It was quite a shock to receive a phone call when we were just in Venice with the family. So everything came together in a beautiful moment. And then this great joy turned into some sort of terror when I realized I actually had to paint now 14 paintings that should go in this beautiful building and into the heart of the church, which then became very frightening very fast.
In total, the artist spent 8 months in his studio preparing the canvases, each measuring 1.3 meters by 1.3 meters, taking careful measurements, sketching faces, and refining compositions. He then began painting the large panels, mixing colors and gradually bringing to life the figures of the Passion: Pontius Pilate, Simon of Cyrene, Veronica, the good thief, the weeping women, the Roman soldiers, and of course, Jesus and his mother Mary.
Jesus is someone who millions of people, billions of people have a relationship with and have an idea of already. And so it's quite a challenge, of course, to get near a way of representing it. But then I also realized quite fast that these are not paintings that should stand alone. They have their place in the Basilica.
After the final brushstrokes were laid, Dürr had to wait weeks for the paint to dry. Only then were the paintings carefully packed, transported by truck to the Eternal City, and prepared to be hung in St. Peter's Basilica. Looking back, the artist shared that some of the stations were more moving to paint than others.
One was the Pietà, of course, Christ being laid into his mother's lap. And me, myself being a father, of course, it's very difficult to paint a parent with their dead child without it being quite emotional. To really dive into it is really difficult. It really was very moving to think that this essentially very horrible image of a parent holding their dead child, that could be in the center of a Christian story of redemption.
Beyond the theme of redeeming suffering, he was also moved by the idea of God revealing himself to mankind, as seen in the scene of Veronica wiping the face of Jesus with her veil.
I think this is one of the most fascinating things as well, because it goes to the central mystery of how a God could become human and how a God would leave an imprint on a piece of cloth. For me, this was a beautiful meditation on what it would mean to find God in all of reality, through things, to see something more through something. I think this touched me as well.
The imprint of Jesus' face in the 6th station is also the only moment in the series when he looks directly at the spectator, even if it is through a piece of cloth.
And so I wanted Christ to look at us directly, but it is a quite veiled Christ, and I think even the resurrected Christ might not always appear to us in a very clear way. And in that sense, I think it's appropriate also that God remains hidden to a certain degree at least. So we may encounter him, but it's also something that we're still waiting for.
Dürr explained that beyond the individual scenes, he was fascinated by the very themes they conveyed, particularly how the Stations of the Cross place suffering at the very heart of the story of salvation. But more importantly, how it doesn't let suffering have the final word.
The Pietà, it puts a grieving mother and her dead son in the center of Christian iconography, or the cross being meant as an instrument of terror, it puts it in the center and turns that into a symbol of hope.
It is still hard for the artist to believe that out of more than 1,000 artists from 80 countries who applied, his Via Crucis was chosen by the Commission of Art Historians, Liturgists, and Vatican representatives. The paintings will be displayed temporarily in the Basilica until Easter, allowing all the faithful to behold them, pray before them, and meditate on the Passion of Christ.
I would hope that encountering these figures in these stations might help people to bring their own stories into this central narrative, the Passion. And I hope that these paintings might work as entryways, so to speak, into this central mystery.